Hello, this is Tom, aka Gedeon here with Tabletop Taproom. And today we're going to be talking about art and AI art. And I have to make a correction on something I said earlier last month. So before we get into that, let me just say thanks for watching the video. Thanks to my subscribers. You guys are great. And if you've not subscribed, please do hit the like, subscribe, and bell icon. Help me build the channel. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now, we're going to be talking about art. And I gave an interview to Vlog of Many Things, run by Don Samora. And he asked my position on AI art. And I hadn't really well thought it out at that point. And since that time, I've actually been playing around with AI art and then investigating AI a little bit more in depth. And I've come to a conclusion. But first, I want to say that my earlier comments about AI, I was really thinking about it in terms of it being a tool, much like this. This is a professional light table. I picked it up at Artists and Craftsmen. It's for tracing. Many times you'll have done a test sketch and you don't really want to have to work that hard. So you'll slap the test sketch on here and put another piece of paper over it and just retrace the outlines, then re-add all the details and tone and texture and so on and so forth. And so this is a tool that just greatly aids art and the artist. And it got me thinking about this here, because this is 49 years old. You see, a light table and tracing way back 49 years ago was like considered a kid's thing. Kids traced, artists did art. And yet I, as an artist, have actually traced a number of my test sketches. But this is a little different than that professional artist one, except it's you can see on the box, it's a Disney light up drawing desk. And I've changed the light bulb in here from a 100-watt bulb. But basically, the Disney version came with, some Disney art you could trace as a kid. And some of my tracings are in here. Except oh my God, this is my brother's. You see, my mother was notorious for never throwing anything away. So when I was 10 years older than my brother, and he inherited this, and these are his pictures. And apparently, I'm betting my mother stapled these all together and put them back in the box. And these are his pictures. And it's really cute because he's did the little kitten and put his name on it, and did the male cat, put dad's name on it, and the female cat put mom's name on it. And then there's a little mouse here, and he put Tigger, and Tigger was our cat, actually. I'm going to have to scan these and send them to him. These are great. So my mother my mother was notorious for saving everything, including artwork. When she passed, we found artwork that I had done in kindergarten that she had saved. So I will have to save that. But I was thinking in terms of, 49, 50 years ago, tracing was considered a kid's thing, and now light tables are a regular artist tool that artists use. And I was thinking about AI art in those terms. I was thinking about it in that way. And as I've invested now, let me just show you some of the fruit of what. Now, I've been messing around in AI, and different AIs do different things for you. These were kind of failures at trying to get the creature I wanted. Here, this one is supposed to be a jar of pickled roaches. It's first a sci-fi game, and pickled Crixian roaches for Star Frontiers game. But you can see here in this image that these legs from these roaches are sticking right through the glass jar. So it's not a usable picture. Some AIs are better at doing, like you can tell it, do a logo for a company, selling pickled roaches. And so some AIs do some things better. There's some issues here with this that I didn't want to use it. Now, this one is supposed to be a drink for the Huma, which is an alien in the Star Frontier setting, which kind of looked like a kangaroo having a bad hair day. And you can see how they've mixed the kangaroo with the bottle here. So it's, this was not a usable picture per se. A lot of problems with AI. You can see here with this snake. What is going on with the anatomy of that snake? That's all messed up. And then I call this bat, this bat here, I call him Jesus. This is Jesus bat because he's walking on water. Because I was trying to, in the Star Frontier setting, one of the fan creations for the planet Clarion is a marsh bat. So I typed in marsh bat, and this is what I got. And repeatedly, the AI did a bat standing on water, most of the time with no ripples in the water. So, here, Jesus bat is walking on water, not flying. This cat, the feet are all deformed. He's got 3 tails. He's just kind of weird looking. And then look at the hand on this spacer. He's got a lot of fingers. So what I found, one more. This is an alien aardvark that eats cockroaches for the Crixian system. And he's standing on his toes. And those are very narrow toes for that much body mass. So this is a lot of problems with AI art, anatomy is deformed. It just doesn't understand certain things. A human artist would never make these mistakes of having a cockroach leg go right through glass. Okay, the standing on the toes that small, supporting that much body weight, a human artist would not make these mistakes. And, the anatomy problems, very obvious. A human artist is not going to necessarily make these mistakes. So I've done a lot of playing around with the AI, and I've become convinced that AI is like one of those people you talk to who they only listen to you so far. They're not really listening to what you have to say. They're listening for just enough so they can respond. And so what AI does is it will grab one of your prompts and it'll run with it. And so then you're like, all right, I clearly can't use that prompt because he's running with it and he's totally missing the point of the greater context of the prompt. Like the marsh bat. Oh, we must have a marsh. No, I just need a bat that, So I had to eliminate marsh from, bat, as I was trying to get a bat creature for illustrating a creature from Clarion. So, it just takes that one word, and it runs with it. And you totally know immediately by what is said by that individual that they weren't listening to you. They were already thinking about what they're going to say, and they just grab one word you said and off to the races, and they completely missed the point of what you were trying to tell them. And that, as I've really dove into AI here, that's what I discovered. That's kind of the impression I began to get when AI would do things wrong. So then I began taking these images from AI and photoshopping them. I'd bring them into GIMP 2, and I would begin photoshopping them, do a lot of heavy photoshopping, new backgrounds. So I went over to Pixabay and got, free to use backgrounds or other elements, found a pair of boots. I put a pair of boots on one guy. I began photoshopping because the AI the artwork it's producing is just not that good. So then I thought, well, maybe we should do a video about AI. And I began to investigate how AIs learn, that there's a data set and training images for AI art. And I began to investigate. And so began to watch videos on the internet, about AI. And This was a good one. The end of art, an argument against image AIs. This was a lawyer going into all the stuff, and he specifically talks about the class action lawsuit that was brought by Getty Images. And Sam Does Art. Now, this guy Sam actually has taken a lot of flack for coming out against AI. His art was taken and used against his will as training images for AI, violating copyright. And he objected to that, and he got trolled hard, massively trolled hard for his speaking out. More Sam Does Art. That was a good video. And why your AI art isn't selling and never will. So as I began to dig into it, I have become convinced that the arguments that AI art, the scouring of the internet for all of these images, not uncopyrighted and copyrighted, and putting them into training images, that it is a violation of the copyright. Now, I'm not here to argue it. Like I said, I dug into these videos and I've come to a decision that I was wrong in my statements in that interview with Vlog of Many Things, the vlog that's run by Don Samora at Wizard Tower Games. And so I want to officially reverse my position, and I'm going to state what the position of the Star Frontiers fan magazine is going to be going forward. And so listen carefully for that if you're interested in Star Frontiers and the Star Frontiers fan magazine. The real telling points for me that really made me go, is that you have nonprofits who are putting together these data sets, the LayIon 5B data set that is the data set that has been put into open source, was put together by a nonprofit, which allowed it to ignore certain things about copyright because it's for research. But then they put it in open source, and then all of these for-profit companies are using it. So these for-profit companies are getting this nice little end run around copyright. And they even freely admit, some of them, that it could be problematic, that the data set is based off of copyrighted material. And so now they're doing this, if an artist wants, they can opt out. Well, it's too late. Once the AI's learned on those training images, it can't forget them. So that's problematic. And some of these people who have instituted opt-outs have been some of the very people who trolled Sam Does Art. So, whether that's really going to work or not, who knows? Because they trolled him hard, and they were very vicious and mean and nasty to him in a way that it's just not called for. So you have these nonprofits doing this, and what's interesting is these nonprofits are funded by some of the same people behind the for-profits. So it's kind of sketchy. So right away, that was a red flag for me as I dug into this. The next red flag that was really telling and really swayed me was the coming AI music platform, the Dance Diffusion, has been very careful to exclude anything copyrighted. Any music, anything that's copyrighted, there's none of that in its data set. So they're very careful because they recognize that the music industry has got very deep pockets, number one, and number two, they have been very litigious in the past. So if they did with music what they're doing with art, I mean, it would be game on, with the music industry. They would come after you with hammer and tongs. That's very obvious. Whereas artists have traditionally been struggling artists, starving, not making enough money to make a living at their trade. So the expectation is what are artists going to do? However, Getty Images has brought a class action lawsuit, and another three, I think it's another three artists have band together and brought another class action lawsuit. So those are playing out in courts. And a lot of artists who are reporting on this are like, yeah, we welcome this. We hope that the courts side with us, obviously, the artists. But the argument that there's a lot of arguments in this that, oh, these artists who are complaining, they're just whiners. Oh, they're Luddites, which is really idiotic of an argument. These people are the furthest thing from anti-tech. They're very much into tech. You know, they're drawing with Wacom tablets. You know, they're always trying the latest and greatest and newest thing to come out in art supplies. And so, I mean, you know, it's just dumb to say they're Luddites. You clearly don't even really understand what a Luddite is. That, you know, it's just, this is the latest tech. You should just embrace it. It's the way things are going. Not necessarily. You know, just because a new technology comes along doesn't mean we don't regulate it. We regulate cars and automobiles. You know, for goodness sakes, you know, they have to have headlights. They have, you have to have safety equipment, seat belts, airbags now. You can't just pollute anymore. You got to have a catalytic converter. So we regulate new technology all the time. Yes, a lot of these arguments just don't wash for me. And I'm really swayed by the argument that there's a strong argument that this is not fair use, that this is a violation of the copyright laws. And this is definitely an abuse of artists. This is an abuse of people. I don't like when people are abused. So I'm coming down on that side of the argument. Now, if you disagree with me, go ahead and put it in the comments. But if your disagreement's just going to be, you know, nasty, trolling kind of whatever, I'm going to delete your comment. But if you've got a cogent argument, go ahead and make it in the comments. I am willing to read it. I'm willing to weigh it out and think about your argument. If you happen to agree with me, maybe you're an artist who agrees, please put it in the comments. Now, as for the Star Frontiersman Volume 2, the fan magazine that I'm the editor of, we have, in a past issue, used one piece of AI art as is right from the machine. It was supplied to me. The person said, I don't know if you mind using this. And it was late. We had a deadline coming up. And I said, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on it. And I let it go in with his submission. This issue has a couple pieces of art that were very heavily photoshopped, and then at least one of them was then run through multiple filters, really changing it, really transforming it as a piece of art. So it really reflects the artist's work, and it's not, there's only a small minor piece in it that's actual AI art. Okay, there was a lot of heavy removing of the background, a lot of stuff was done with it. So because we're so close, we're actually past the deadline for the magazine. I'm not going to delay the magazine by cutting any of this. This stuff was done in innocence, and I'm going to let it go. It's just going to call a mulligan on it, and that's that. What's already in the queue. As for AI art in the future in the magazine, I'm not going to allow it as long as I'm editor of the magazine, until one of two conditions are met. So I'm going to ask artists to certify they're not using AI art. You know, that if they're doing heavy photo collages and photoshopping different pieces, that none of it comes from an AI source. I'm going to ask that. Now, there's certain artists I've worked with for a long time who've supplied me with tons of art. I know they're not in favor of it. I'm not going to, dude, before I can publish any more of your art, you know, they know who they are. We have long-standing relationships, you know, but anything submitted from this point on, I'm going to go back at the submitter and say, I need you to certify to me on your word, on your honor, none of it's AI. And that will be the standard. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be the AI police here, but I'm just gonna ask you on your honor, as a good person, certify that it's not AI. Now, the conditions under which we will allow AI in the future are two. When the court cases settle, and they settle in the favor of artists, and then all these AI platforms are forced to clean up their act. Under those circumstances, then yes, AI art will then be allowed to come into the magazine. Probably not as is. It will probably need to be photoshopped, an artist working to Photoshop it, to change it, to transform it. That will then be acceptable for the magazine. The other condition would be if a company comes out and says, look, our data set, our training images is all strictly non-copyrighted art, or art that has been opted in by the artist, that the artist has willingly allowed it to go into the data set. Now, I know, based off what I've learned about these data sets and training images, that sort of a data set will be very limited. It will not be the 5 billion pieces of art that currently underpin the Leion 5B. And so that means that AI art using that data set's going to suck compared to the other stuff. All right. It's just not going to be as good because it's not going to have the same breadth of material that it's drawing from. But I'm okay with that, because then it's not a copyright violation. And that will then require that somebody has to take that and transform it and fix the anatomy issues with the snake or the too many extra fingers. You got to Photoshop that out and then doctor the whole image so that it doesn't look funky. And, so that will then be okay with me. Those will be the conditions under which I will consider accepting AI art in the future, because then I believe it's not going to be a problem. And again, if you're an artist and you're offended by that, please tell me about it and explain why. And maybe your argument will resonate with me, and I might just reverse myself on that point in the future. But I think then with some regulation, whether by courts or by Congress passing a law, I think then we're not going to have artists being trampled. And fundamentally, AI does not understand context, and some of the platforms, AI doesn't really know how to frame a picture. It doesn't know where to put the horizon. It doesn't know how to put the subject of the picture. Like it'll have a person's face at the edge looking off. No, you put them so that their face is looking towards the middle of the picture, if they're going to be at the edge of the frame. It just doesn't understand so much. So this is where I have now fallen. I'm now articulating my position on it. I want to thank you for watching the video. If you disagree, let me know about it in the comments. I would love to hear your opinion. I still think I have more to learn. I had a fascinating conversation with ChatGTP last night. I was probing it to see what it really knew about RPGs. Did it understand dice conventions? Kind of challenged it. It told me some things, and I said, you're incorrect, and then admitted that it basically lied to me. So it was a fascinating conversation. So I think that I still have much to learn, but I've reached the point where I am swayed that there's way too much shiftiness going on. So this is where we're going to stand at Tabletop Taproom, and this is where we're going to stand at the Fan magazine for now. And so no more AI art are going to be allowed in the magazine. It'll be a total of 3 pieces. We're going to just call that a mulligan and let it go, done in innocence, and move on. So, to the artists that have supported the magazine, I want to thank you. You know who you are. Jerry Boucher, Aaron O'Brien, principally, you guys have been absolutely fabulous. There's been a couple of professional artists. There was one that donated art way back during the Frontier Explorer days. And now Steve Compton donated our first cover for Star Frontiersman Volume 2, Issue 27, our first issue back. So that was great. In fact, not only did he say, I have an old piece of art you could use, he dropped it in Photoshop and redid it a little bit, made it better, and then gave us that to use. So it was like, that was really cool. So I want to thank all the artists that have ever donated artwork to us. Appreciate your support. And I just want to say the Star Frontiersman Volume 2 wants to support you. So there will be no more AI art under my watch. This is Tom for Tabletop Taproom signing out. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my subscribers. You guys are great. Thanks to all the Star Frontiers fans out there. You guys rock. I love you all. Keep on gaming. And if you've never tried Star Frontiers, you should think about giving it a whirl. It's a great game, and I love it.